So my name is Brandon. I'm a farm manager, of Three Hands Oyster, and I got into it as a summertime job. I was supposed to quit and never really did. And, here we are, 10 years later. So always lived around the water. Grew up in Middlesex and live in Wake. So yeah, still in and around it. Started with the Three Hands thing in 2019. Before that was always just an independent waterman, um, crabbing and oystering and conking some. So this thing all started with Kevin Wade and J&W Seafood. He had a lot of oyster ground in York River that was a drudge fishery. So everything was oysters that were drudged up. A lot of those were shucked, some of those were boxed. But this was just to have a box market oyster for J&W was the plan. And before we ever really got started, he died. He died in January of 19. And so we tried to do the best we could with what we had. So I think this area is good for growing oysters just because it's a lot of different influences. You've got a freshwater influence from all the way to Fredericksburg. You're just south of the Rappahannock and just outside of Piankatank, and you also have the salinity from the bay. So I think it kind of gives you the best of all worlds with it. Salinity range is probably from 12 to a high of maybe 18. There's a whole flavor wheel on it, and I think what we came up with was buttery and sweet is the best we could come up with. Our process is a little different just because we don't always rely on mechanical stuff to separate it. A lot of it gets separated manually, and it's just allowing for the oyster in the cage and the gear type to do what it's made to do. So from beginning to end, it looks like we get seed in a 5-gallon bucket, and it goes into upwellers on the dock, and from there it's washed, graded, sorted until it goes into a bag, until it's big enough to go into a bag. And then from there it's basically the same process all throughout its life until it's of size ready to put it into a box and eat, which is about 12 to 18 months. Some of them hang around as long as 2 years or better. But yeah, it's a lot of splitting in the beginning. So, as the oyster grows, it fills the container, and then that container is dispersed among 3 containers. So you may have one bag that turns into 3, and then 6 weeks later, that same bag turns into 3 all over again. And it'll do that until there's right many marketable size oysters in there, and then from there it gets sold. Some go as far as California, some stay pretty local. Don't sell a lot to direct restaurants. A lot of them go to distributors, and then they're distributed among different restaurants. But try to get everything leaving here on a pallet. Get our seed from Oyster Seed Holdings. I think we are the closest farm to Oyster Seed Holdings, so it's the shortest commute, and gotta help something. It's gotta be, less shock and less time out of the water. And yeah, we've been getting them from Oyster Seed Holdings from the beginning, from our beginning. Yep.